We have Macarena Guajardo from Fundacion Basura, GAIA, Chile. Macarena will be discussing food waste prevention initiatives in Santiago de Chile, including the donation of edible food from street markets and partnerships with local governments and institutions. Please welcome Macarena Guajardo.
How many of you have seen this image after visiting a farmer's market? Please raise your hand. This is a common landscape, unfortunately. And we have to remember that it's not only the environmental impacts that we have to address, not only the costs, but also the health impacts that these kind of practices are generating in our society. If you walk through this street, you might feel insecurity, and you might feel that this is part of your identity, because you might belong to this neighborhood. So this is why it's so much important to be in charge of this situation. And we have seen people recovering this waste after farmers market. I have done this myself. I go to the farmers market and I see a beautiful old tomato laying on the street. And I think to myself, this would be a really nice sauce. So I pick it up. But we are missing something. Why is this happening? Why do we have to take this out of the street? It has no dignity inside, no? So we discovered in Fundacion Basura, an NGO in Chile, which I founded in 2015, that there was something missing. We were missing the glue. And I always felt that civil society is the glue to our society. So we started to putting all the pieces together. And of course, for this collaboration is key. As always, collaboration is the only way to be. This is the only way we are going to solve the current crisis. It's not going to be solved by the government or by the NGOs or by the private sector by its own. We need to do it together. So what do we do first? We invite the community to participate in this project. In this photo you can see farmers donating the food that people are not buying, because it's food that might be a little bit ugly, or bananas that have a little brown parts, and people are just not buying them. So they donate this to us. We also recover all the food scraps from the floor, because that is a lot of the problem. Then we take everything into a table on site, and we do the sorting with volunteers that are willing to participate in this journey. And we separate this into two different types of not waste, can I say. We have donations, so this is still edible food that is going to be donated to social diners, and the rest is sent to a compost facility. So we transform all this into fertilizer. We have been able to recover more than 1 ton of food in just 3 hours of work. We have done this in more than 20 different activities. Therefore, we have been able to recover more than 20 tons of not waste. It's amazing. And it's super fun. That is why we also believe that education means prevention. So we don't go and just recover. We also do kitchen classes, cooking lessons. So people learn how to transform, for example, banana peels into a very nice hamburger. Have you tried that? No. You can go back to your countries and try that. The next time you're cooking, use the banana peels to create a really nice sandwich. You can search for the recipe on the internet. Yes, this is a reality. It tastes good. How do we find this? We started with volunteer work, but since it's so fun, of course, the businesses want to participate. And they hired this Fundacion for Waste, to create volunteer activities. So they do these corporate volunteer activities with us. And they send around 20 people to go to farmers markets with us, and they take nice pictures and they share them in the social media, and most important, they learn how to cook really good hamburgers with banana peels. You know? Some key dynamics. We need for these kind of initiatives to be spread everywhere, right? So, for example, in the left, we have Cristobal and Santiago. These are two vegans influencers from Santiago, and we invite them to participate into this project. So, this way we showcase what we are doing. On the left, you can see the former Minister of the Environment in Chile and a local mayor. So we invite all these politicians to be also part of the collections. Of course, the press is following them. So you see, we are also appearing on the news in many papers. But a success for us is when the municipality realizes they can do this by themselves. So they decide to invest and to put in the budget these kind of practices. So they don't know they need volunteers, but they have a personnel from the municipality doing the recovery. And they hire waste pickers sometimes, or they should, right? To do the waste management and send everything to the compost facility. Some challenges and opportunities we have seen is, well, especially when it comes to budget. It's really hard for a municipality to have the budget to sustain this. We also have to work on our own culture. We have heard from people that they don't believe that this can be or can taste good. I saw it on your faces before. I said banana peels and you were like, what? So we have a culture challenge there. We also, especially in Chile, we don't really have infrastructure for this, so we need to strengthen that. And of course, generate interaction and interest in waste prevention through cooking and eating, inviting some chefs, and so on. So I would like to finish my presentation by inviting you all to follow Fundacion Basura. We believe that trash does not exist, because we are the only animal generating trash in the world. So it is our invention, which means this concept is only allocated in our hands. Therefore, we have the opportunity in our hands to stop generating it. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Macarena. Truly inspiring story. Our third speaker is Fictor, Argentino, from the Polis Institute in Brazil. Fictor will be sharing stories of organic waste recovery throughout Brazil through partnerships between the public sector and communities, waste pickers and farmers, and insights about how that can shape waste management systems. Let's give a warm welcome to Fictor, Argentino.
Jumbo. Thanks everyone for this opportunity, and especially thanks GAIA for the invitation and Fajio for the presentation. I was worried about opening after lunch, but after Solly and Marvin presented, I was worried about presenting after them. So I'm more comfortable presenting after lunch now. I don't have poetry and all that stuff. So. Thanks, GAIA. So, well, we are very excited to share all this information here. Thanks also Tanzania for the whole hospitality. We could have the privilege of being in Arusha doing the safaris, and everyone should have this opportunity in life because it's like amazing. It's astonishing experience. Like you see zebras like we see stray dogs in Brazil, you know? So it's crazy. So, well, talking about Zero waste. To start talking about zero waste, I have the mission to share some hopeful stories with everyone. And when we are talking about hopeful stories in Brazil, about especially organic waste, we are talking about Florianopolis. That is our reference city. Florianopolis is the city that made it possible that people can trust in composting again in Brazil, because most of the projects of composting were unsuccessful. They had large composting units with mixed waste that the neighborhood hated, and they blocked the operation of this on units all over Brazil. And Florianopolis showed us that it's possible to do it if you do it with the community. And the most interesting thing is that it was not an environmental solution problem. The solution in Florianopolis was made from a community, especially a neighborhood association, after two children that they were dead. They had their lives taken away by rats infestation, by leptospirosis, because the city didn't collect the waste well. So the community needed to manage it by herself, the waste collection in their neighborhoods. And they developed a project for more than 2,500 people in the community to collect organic waste. So that's the importance of zero waste. It's not about only solving environmental problems. When you do this, I bet you might have a lot of people in the street saying this is hip stuff, If it's hip, it's not me. So it was solving a social problem. And they showed that it was possible to have separate collection for a good composting unit inside of the city. And just this little project in a little neighborhood in Brazil, that everyone could think that, okay, it's too little. It inspired the biggest city in Latin America, that's São Paulo. And São Paulo replicated this technology of composting and separate collection in the city. And these are the composting plants in São Paulo now that works with organic waste from the street fairs. So now, São Paulo basically have 5 composting plants for the street fair food waste. In Brazil, we are used to buy food from street fairs, not from the market, especially fruits, vegetables, and this kind of stuff. And we have a lot. We have 900 street fairs each week in São Paulo, only in São Paulo. Every day, 150. So we have now these composting units, but it's only 0.3% of the waste of São Paulo. So São Paulo is not stuck with a lot of problems, so just follow these, don't go for all the stuff for São Paulo. And why did they do this? Because composting is cheaper than collection and landfilling, as a lot of people have showed it this morning. The landfills are going further and further, so they are getting more expensive, and composting you can do intra-urban and more close to the cities. And also, we have a lot of other experiences growing in Brazil. So a little project in Florianopolis has raised it, okay, composting is good, and a lot of municipalities starting popping up projects, and the national government funding. And we had one city that's quite interesting, that is Rancho Queimado in South Brazil. It means burned ranch. So that was thinking, okay, maybe if we give home composters for everyone in the city. Of course, they are a little city in Brazil. It's just 1,000 households in Brazil. In Brazil, we have 5,570 municipalities. So this is a little. And they gave home composters to every house. And what happened? They reduced the landfilling in 50%. So they saved around 30 to 40% the municipal budget in waste management. This is the first 7 months. After that, they had a decrease because you need engagement constantly, so they are understanding now how to maintain it. And also, we have one good example of Rio de Janeiro, the most famous city probably in Brazil, because you have the crime, extended beaches and all that stuff. And that they tropicalized an anaerobic digester for Brazil. Because it's common that we are in the global south, everyone from Europe wants to sell us what doesn't work in Europe. So they come and say, buy this technology, and they were like, this doesn't work here probably. Like, you have snow, we have 40 degrees, like average sometimes. It will not work. So Rio, with the university in Brazil, developed and tropicalized an anaerobic digester for Rio. So they are trying to do cheaper AD because the cost of AD from Europe is not viable for us. And this is also a good example of an anaerobic digestion and composting unit that's going on. But I would like to talk with you more about the good PPPs. We have the normal, conventionally bad PPPs, that are the private-public partnership, that normally the partnership is the government gives money and the private gains money, right? So these are the public-popular partnerships. So what does the good PPPs look like? Like, they are systems that works in the cities with, sometimes with the private, but most importantly with the support and engagement of the population. And most of them include farmers, waste pickers, neighborhood associations, and local governments. And what are the systems working? The systems basically are systems that the organic waste management are run by one of these actors. So this is a green coin system developed in South Brazil. Basically, the municipality had a higher cost with waste management. So they started paying people to separate organic waste. Each 5 kilo, they received £1, that's like 20 cents of dollar. And they buy food in the markets, and the horticultures take this money and buy compost from the city. So by this system, they started collecting organic waste. The other examples that are really interesting and important are the waste picker composting units. This is a unit in South Brazil. It's not composting for separate collection yet. It's more a mechanical biological treatment stuff. But they manage waste from 21 municipalities. It's 900 tons a month they manage. And they are contracted by the cities. That address a point that we had yesterday. Like, why not contracting the waste pickers to do it? We have waste pickers basically in all cities in the global south. In Brazil, we have in all the countries and all the cities. So why not organizing, formalizing, and contracting them to manage the organic waste? They can. We have also an example from one waste picker cooperative that has no contract with the public sector, only with hotels, restaurants that develop the composting units. And these scales of these composting units with waste pickers, they have capacity to replicate and solve the problem of 70% of the municipalities in Brazil. It means that the waste pickers can do it. They are part of the solution for the organic waste management. And actually they do better than the private sector. Because when we see the contamination rate in the separate collection are always below 12% when we have the 3-stream separate collection. When you take the separate collection of the private companies and from the municipalities, I guarantee that's at least 4 times more than that. So composting is a source of income, and the waste pickers are seeing this. So basically what is the conclusion and recommendations that we have from these studies to show you is that we need to rethink municipal waste management beyond this conventional private sector or state sector owned, and we need to start slow and grow with the time. So we don't need to solve the problem by once. There is no one-fits-all solution. There is no silver bullet for that. We need to go and do this. And especially for most of these projects, we needed non-refundable sources of money for the CapEx. Like, don't come with loan. You are already indebted in Global South, you know? Like, are we owing you more money to solve the problem you created? Like, no way. So this study is here. And maybe I would like to close the presentation saying that the way to do it is not linear. Like, as I said in São Paulo, we were really happy that São Paulo was great. What happened? The mayor died. And the opposition took control of the city. And now they want the incinerator. And like, but now the government at the national level changed it. And they want zero waste in a bunch of cities. So sometimes the way is not linear, you will be disappointed, but you are in the right way to do it. Thank you.
and composting initiatives in Portugal and Europe, including EU policy context and implementation in Portugal. Welcome, Ismael.
Good afternoon, everybody. I have here a big responsibility because the other three presentations were really amazing. So let's see how it goes. I would like to thank you, all the organization, for having a chance of being here and talking to you. And also thank you to all the participants that took your time, the patience to be here, to listen, learn, and network, which is really important. We want to go back home full of questions, not full of answers, and start the work again. Yes. I'm wondering why I put 3 pictures, one of waste collection and two of composting. I guess because we do a lot of composting. Normally, when we speak either of one, either about composting as a solution itself, either about separate collection, if it's door-to-door or curbside or other models. The thing is, we've been trying to see whether a combination of the two is possible, because we do not trust the population's willingness to separate waste at home as enough for some regions. So we're trying to combine the two of them and see what happens. In Europe, we have many rules. We can spend hours discussing whether these rules are good or not. But we start in Portugal organic collection in January 2024, from January, because European Union mandated it, so we don't have any other choice but doing it. And also because, as you see on the right, it's almost, well, it's not very clear now, but it's 38%, so it's a big part of waste. So it's the sugar part of waste, it smells bad, and still it's a resource. Municipalities and other entities have now the obligation to implement the collection, and they also have strategic plans for 2030. They do not have any idea of what they're doing, but they have 2 strategic plans, so they're not running here and there, sometimes hitting their heads with the walls, so we're trying to help them find a good solution. But yeah, there are many municipalities, many entities, and not all of them are the same. So this table has too many numbers. Do not focus on the numbers. What I want you to look at here is the first column. There are different regions with different characteristics. Not all the regions are the same. You have the urban ones, you have the rural ones. We could argue that it's easy to compost in a garden, so in rural areas, but actually it is pretty easy, pretty viable to have community composting in big cities and in urban areas. So it's not very linear, but still it's important to understand how the characteristics of the population, distribution, the economy, the climate, the distance from the treatment plant. Sorry. Anyway, the best waste is the one we don't produce, and when we produce it, we want to treat it as locally as possible. And for treating it, we need a rule. We need some rules to make sure that composting is done in the best way possible, that the technicians, the municipal technicians have the capacity, they have the knowledge. The population is also trained, willing to help, but you also need the tools. The tools can be a thermometer to measure the temperature, have access to water to wash your hands when you're going to work, and you bring the bag to a composter. So it's fundamental to have the technical, the financial tools, and the whole environment around. This is just a very nice picture about a community composter, and the text is about greenhouse emissions, because there are many areas in which we can reduce emissions from biowaste. First, when we don't let them go into landfill, so they produce methane, but also we are talking about the energy crisis, the war with Ukraine, and all the problems related to fossil fuels, and biomethane is now being discussed as an option to substitute other gases. So it's also a chance of opportunity to think about it. And also do not forget that sometimes the regional waste management industries, let's say, they are far from the collection point. So if we spend like 100 miles going from one place to the other, we're polluting and trucks are going all the time. This is just a project that we've been doing in the last 6 months. The figures you'll see there is half a year only. It's a small municipality, a small village of 215 inhabitants. Still, with the door-to-door collections, bio-waste. 240 people produce a lot of bio-waste, and this bio-waste is treated locally and is not sent 100 miles away, polluting and going to landfill. The importance of working with the private sector is also, we have to think about it. The private sector is earning money, so they have also responsibilities into implementing some policies, legally binding policies. But it's also true that it's easy to collect in a hotel or in a campsite like this one bio-waste, because they have many people eating, they have the kitchens, the facilities. It's sort of easy to separate waste, so it's really important to have them on board. And then it can be a trigger for the municipality to say, look, we have enough waste, and the construction of a new plant is justified, and the tourists will like it, it's a sustainable destination, and so on and so forth. Just a quick line, as Victor said before, it's not linear, but we started working with the zero waste cities. We got first 3 zero waste candidate cities in Portugal, and then we expanded to restaurants, one restaurant and one hotel who got certified. Different kind of businesses, still they are all producing food, generating waste, generating not waste, as Macarena said before. And now we have other businesses joining. And then we have the first zero waste municipality on an island, which is a whole island. And let's think about the difficulties of being on an island. And everything must come in and come out the same way. The last one is a school. It's not the last because it's less important, but a school in which 10,000 people go every day. It's like a village. It's a whole small city. So a school is the chance to promote the zero waste culture, to teach people to work with them, and to use school as a laboratory for expanding our network. And this is an ongoing work. I don't want to keep you more time, but I would love for you to get inspired and ask questions if you want to. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ismael. I'm sure that many of you here are inspired, and I truly encourage you to come to our speakers during breaks and ask them any questions you may have.
Proprement, ces déchets contribuent à l'atténuation du méthane, à l'atténuation de la crise climatique. Et comme vous le voyez, les labels qu'on a eu à développer, on avait développé un label pas de bouteilles plastiques, pas de capsules café, pas de paille jetable. Et le dernier label qu'on va développer, c'est ici on valorise les déchets organiques. Je vous laisse une seconde pour lire. Voilà Banki-Moon qui disait les pertes alimentaires, c'est non seulement des pertes économiques, mais aussi c'est un fardeau pour l'environnement. Voilà, donc les types de gestion, de valorisation avec le label qu'on va faire, c'est de mettre en place des composteurs dans les restaurants qui ont été choisis. Et ces types de composteurs, on a différents types de composteurs qui dépendent de là où on va le placer. Si c'est à l'intérieur du restaurant, ça va être un composteur fermé avec du matériel recyclable ou bien du métal. Et si c'est en dehors du restaurant, ça va être un composteur qui est ouvert. Et le compost, ça va faire 1 à 2 mois pour être prêt pour l'utiliser dans le restaurant ou bien dans les maraîchers déjà qui vont utiliser ce compost. Je vais aller plus vite. Voilà. Et l'autre valorisation, c'est le biodigesteur. Récemment, on a eu à faire un projet avec les biodigesteur, un projet qui a été financé par Global Méthano pour réduire le gaz de méthane chez les maraîchers et les femmes maraîchers. Et ce projet, on a eu à installer des biodigesteurs. C'est le même type de biodigesteur qu'on va utiliser pour les restaurants, mais ici à un modèle beaucoup plus réduit. Et les biodigesteurs coûtent en moyenne $1 500. Et l'association apporte 50% des budgets pour accompagner ces restaurants. Et aujourd'hui, on est à presque 10 restaurants qui se sont engagés à porter ce projet. Pour le compostage, on a des restaurants qui se trouvent à Dakar, Cicmil, et là, pour le biodigesteur, il y a des restaurants qui sont à Saint-Louis. À Saint-Louis, c'est une autre zone du Sénégal qui est à plus de 200 km de la capitale. Et Zebrabar, Sobobad, la Biche aussi. Et pour la collecte des déchets organiques, il y a Sobobal, Bancafé, la Biche qui ont choisi plutôt la collecte que le compost ou le biodigesteur. Et les défis et opportunités. Il y a le défi local, parce que, comme je l'ai dit tantôt, l'utilisation du compost n'est pas trop développée au Sénégal. Et pour nous, c'est au moins de trouver des partenariats entre les restaurants et les gens qui sont dans dans le maraîchage, qui vont composter. Et également, ça nous permet de sensibiliser sur l'importance des déchets organiques. Sur la réduction des prix également, le fait de trier également, de valoriser ces déchets nous permet de réduire le coût de traitement des déchets qu'on va amener chez la décharge. Et également, sur l'aspect image, ça permet aux restaurants de développer une plus grande image de marque pour permettre à d'autres clients de dire ok, voilà un restaurant qui s'engage à réduire les problèmes environnementaux, et ça permet également d'avoir beaucoup plus de clients. Et à la fin, ça permet également de supporter le gouvernement qui n'a pas encore de plan de gestion des déchets organiques, de les supporter pour avoir un plan national de déchets organiques, et également de contribuer à mettre en place des projets de management de gestion des déchets organiques. Merci.
Thank you, Momar. Lastly, we have Fictor Ferdinand from YPBB in Indonesia. He's going to explain what this stands for, because I'm not sure. Sorry about that. Victor will be sharing experiences on food waste prevention and scaling up composting systems in Indonesia. Please welcome Victor.
Good afternoon. Salaam. There's two Victor in one panel, so you can call me Piki, so that we don't get mixed up. But today I will be. First of all, thank you for GAIA and YPBB for to let us come together here and let me tell you stories about the Indonesian work. And I will be presenting today as part of the alliance, the Indonesian Zero Waste Alliance. We call it AZWI there, and which is my organization is part of this alliance. This one here, the yellow one, yeah, at top left, and it's actually Indonesian word. Not really, but the meaning is those who become a safeguard for a sustainable world, that kind of thing. Yeah, and so our framework for methane emission reduction is based on the organic recycling process, where we tackle organic waste through composting and bioconversion on the end of life of the material, and use this product for local food production. So closing the gap between the production and consumption, because that's where the food loss comes in. So by doing that, we hope we can also reducing food loss. And then after that, we also have a food sharing program that is developed by other member from AZWI, which is to prevent food waste. So Next slide, yeah. The Zero Waste Cities work in Indonesia, especially in Bandung, starts in 2017. We also learned from Mother Foundation. Rap is my teacher there at that time. So we have developed a Zero Waste Cities model in Bandung, and it's like many other Zero Waste Cities work. It's based on waste segregation and collection. We also use small-scale and distributed composting facilities like compost box on the right there to because the area is urban areas where we don't have much space, so we kind of like distribute the composting process into the neighborhood. And also to enable closer linkage with the local food production through urban farming that is happening at the same spot actually. And just recently, the government also promoted bioconversion facilities using black soldier fly larvae on the bottom right, and that give us opportunity to diversify the type of food production, so that we can have feedstocks like fish and chicken. So on the left bottom, we can see that since 2019, the government has used their own budget to expand to other communities. So the zero waste work is expanding to other communities since 2019, so that we can see the rise of the organic waste process using government's budget there. But the activity is still revolving around the activity from the government is revolving around education and waste segregation, assistance to that community. It's not really touch the policy work yet, because there are also other things that hinders them from doing that. Up in total, we have processed almost 3 to 4 tons of per day organic waste in the whole area using black soldier fly only. And here are also a few other examples of government's adoption to our zero waste model. Our technology now, like you can see here, the compost box, bucket, and also the cart is adopted by the government into their catalog. So people or local government can buy the